Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Deborah Eckerling, creator of the DEB Method for Goal Setting Simplified. I'm also the author of your Goal Guide and 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, how to stay focused, grow your network, and get more done in less time. You can't reach your goals on your own, you need your people. So every week I bring together some of my people to dive into the topic. And I am really excited today. We're talking about collaboration, which is like the best word ever. And I mean, 52 Secrets, I interviewed 60 people in business, tech, entertainment. So I'm all, and goodness, I should stop trying to say three sentences at the same time. Basically, it's like an extension of this show, bringing together people, and unless it's on purpose, they don't know each other. There are always opportunities, and again, this is my favorite way of doing so. And I brought together some people who like live by the collaboration land, and they're all podcasters, and they're all awesome. I am excited. We have School of the Podcasting's Dave Jackson, and I was fangirling before we went live because I used to be an editor for Social Media Examiner. I did special projects for Social Media Marketing World. I've known who Dave was for like ever. And then when he appeared on Dealcasters 2 weeks ago, I'm like, ooh, these two mutual friends are going to introduce us. So that's the other part of the collaboration. You get to see your friends doing collabs and bring people into your world who you may have been watching. Now I sound like a stalker for a decade. Anyway, Dave, I am thrilled to have you here. Jug Anderson, who I met recently, who just interviewed me for his podcaster, and he is all about event affiliates and bringing people together to, again, support each other. And Tim Lewis, who I met in real life, who lives in London, England. Did I get the right both parts? Yeah. Excellent.
Yes, you did. Yeah, for once. I'm a UK
Excellent.
person in
I'm
London,
so glad that I got that one right, because it would be like, oops. Anyway, Tim, I actually met in San Diego like 10 years ago for Social Media Marketing World. And he is someone who was involved in my online writers community that was like, cool, in real life. So collaboration, it's about the people and putting the people together. And there's so many different avenues that we can explore with this. If you are watching us as Gold Chat Live or the replay, thank you for tuning in. You may also be listening to us as Gold Chat on the Marketing Podcast Network. No matter how you found us, we are so glad you're here. And before I start vamping even more, I would love for you, my wonderful guests, to introduce yourselves better. And by better, I mean actually introduce yourself, because all people really know now is you're awesome, which again, also true. But maybe elaborate a little bit. Chuck, great to have you here.
Right. Well, thanks for being here. So aside from being awesome, I spend the daytimes helping people set up affiliate programs, and specifically coaches and experts using affiliates to find clients and build their lists, and kind of keep their businesses going. And affiliate marketing is one of my favorite types of collaboration. It's where we get to promote each other or promote something in exchange for a commission. There's all sorts of different ways to do affiliate things. So, and I've been doing that since 1999. I call myself a reformed do-it-yourselfer, where I realize that, succeeding in business is a team sport, and really the biggest and best way to win is to find other ways to collaborate with, and other ways to collaborate with each other, I should say, and together we all achieve more. So that is a brief me in a nutshell.
And we met through Gem, didn't we?
We did, yeah. So networking is a great way to meet people, and that's where we met, and it opens the doors to relationship building and to future collaborations.
Because you can't reach your goals on your own, and you never know where a relationship will lead.
Exactly.
Dave, so good to have you here. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm Dave Jackson. I am the founder of the School of Podcasting back in 2005, back in the day when we would chisel podcasts out of stone. Along the way, I have worked for Libsyn. I'm the author of the book Profit from Your Podcast. In 2018, I got inducted into the Podcast Hall of Fame, and I am currently the head of podcasting at Podpage. So when I'm not, eating or sleeping, well, let's face it, I'm just podcasting 24/7. I don't really have any other hobbies, so that's it. But that's me in a nutshell.
And as podcasting is your hobby, do you really need anything else? I mean, is this not like the best thing to do all the time?
Well, I used to be in a band. I was a musician, and this really does scratch every itch I have. It's kind of geeky. It's as creative as you want it to be, and I get to help people. So I scratch my teacher itch because that's my background is I was a teacher in the corporate world. So it scratches every itch I have. So
And the getting to help people, I think, really is the essence of all that I was going to say of what each of us does. But usually the people that I speak to, they're thought leaders, experts, consultants, entrepreneurs, but they all have some sort of passion. And when your passion leaks out of you, as it does when you love what you do, why wouldn't you help others be better at what they're doing?
absolutely.
Tim, great to see you. Welcome. Oh, there you are.
Hi.
You froze.
Yes. Well, apologies for hotel Wi-Fi because I'm currently in Canada at the moment. Too much, and I've also managed to capture slight vocal
We are
infection
getting
on the way here as well. So
we are getting
Tim
every other word.
Lewis, and I'm the author of 7 books, and
I think we need to teach Tim sign language. This is a problem.
okay, so
I will
maybe
introduce
I
him.
should talk in little.
Or maybe try turning off your camera. As much as we hate to do that, it might help with the bandwidth.
And Tim left, and he will likely come back.
Yep.
And we will. The beauty of a live show. What can I say?
The show must go on.
Wait, I heard some British, and that
Oh,
wasn't even Tim.
That was bad British, yes.
Okay, let's not tell him.
Right.
So while we are waiting for Tim, let's say a hi to Chris Stone, who is watching us live, who is the one who gave me the intro to Dave. So thank you for being here and for facilitating in your way of getting us all together. Okay, Tim, can we hear you now?
Hopefully.
Okay. Do you want to try introducing yourself again?
Well, I will. Yes, I'm on hotel Wi-Fi, which I might try and switch over to a personal hotspot at some point to get better signal. I'm Tim Lewis. I'm the author of 7 books. I'm a travel substacker as well. And the last book I wrote was called Social Media Networking, and that was about using social media for networking. So that's me in a nutshell.
Of all things. Well, and when I see and hear the word social media, I think social. If people are not using, leaning into the word social part of social networking, we don't like to tell people they're doing something wrong, but they're doing something wrong. What is it? Because you're all podcasters, you're all collaborators. What is it about collaboration that makes it so special? Dave, want to start us off?
Just the fact that we are all individuals with our own little different skills and such. And so when you collaborate with someone, like I just did a collaboration with Thomas Umstadt Jr. from Novel Marketing, and that guy is a walking encyclopedia of how to publish and write your own book. But we also love podcasting. So we shared that in common. And yet he has all this other knowledge that I don't have access to. And so it's like having a walking, talking chat GPT in front of you. So you're like, oh, did you know this? And you know that. And so it really is a case where together you become more powerful than you are separately because you can focus on a common goal.
Yes, and we do love that word goal. And we are stronger together because people know things, and you never know who knows things unless you're out there in the universe finding the commonalities, right?
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, Jahuk, why do you think collaboration is so special?
Well, first of all, everything Dave said. And what it does is sometimes makes the impossible possible. It also makes the difficult more easy. For example, we work with a lot of people who host online events, webinars, masterclasses, that sort of thing. And I always say that the easiest part of hosting a webinar is scheduling it, deciding to have it. The hardest part is filling it. So a great example is you might be hosting a webinar and you want to have 100 people there. You can collaborate with somebody who has influence over your audience or has more reach than you do. You host the webinar, they promote the webinar or you co-promote it, and it is bigger because you worked together versus only limiting yourself to what you can do on your own.
Now, I do have a question though, because I do remember, especially the beginning of the pandemic, this was the rage. Everybody and their brother and their sister was putting together these sorts of affiliate type events. Is it getting better or stronger, or what makes something like after the influx? What makes doing that kind of an event make you stand out?
Yeah, well, first of all, is it getting better? I think it is because I think during the pandemic, everybody was trying something. And I think, now a few years later, the ones that were just sort of trying it, they've gone away. And I think we're seeing better quality uh, collaborations than before. So from our perspective anyways, the events that we host, we're seeing more quality, and some of the events that we're part of. And so again, it makes something possible that wasn't possible before. um, we've launched entirely new product lines and everything just by finding people who are in our industry to collaborate with. So again, we get beyond our own reach and we're able to expand into other people's reach as well. So from our perspective, it's actually getting better.
Good to know. The reason I ask is I was invited to be on one for the first time in maybe 3 years. And it's a
Mhm.
friend, so I said yes. But I also remember 2020. That was well, I started a podcast. Lots of people probably did. But that's what people were doing to connect because they couldn't go to the in person ones. But I'm glad to hear that they're back and they're stronger. It's also like podcasting. Now, Dave's been at it, I think, longer than all of us. I have done other, this actually started as I did the Guided Goals podcast 2015, 2016, and this became launched as a live show in 2020. I always find podcasting is the ultimate because if you haven't seen someone in a while, you could say, hey, come be on my show. It's a good way to catch up, but also introduce people to each other. Uh, and so for you, Tim, what do you think makes collaboration special?
Well, I think the main thing about collaboration that is fantastic is that even if it's somebody who does exactly the same job as you can still collaborate with them because you might not have you might have too much work on at a particular time, so you can send it somebody else's way, and it's just such a fantastic way of getting in touch with people. And in the last book I wrote years ago about social media networking, I put the focus, not everybody's creating content, but very few people are interacting with the content that people have created. So, like, even the people who, like, I've seen Chris Stone has put a comment in the chat here. That is interaction. That is connection. So it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be producing a podcast episode every day to make an impact. And in fact, it's so rare that people are interacting with other people's content that that's probably the way to go.
Did we even define collaboration? Do we have to? I kind of feel like we should. Go.
Is that to me? Or
Your Wi-Fi is working, Tim. I would go with it.
Yeah, well, I've switched over to a hotspot now. It's probably costing me about £5,000 a second, but who cares?
And who cares? You're in
Collaboration
my
is where,
time zone, which is why we got you on this week, right?
yeah, exactly. Collaboration is where people work together to get a result bigger than they could do on their own. That's what I would say is basically. And ironically, in Europe, when I was growing up, collaboration had a bad term because it was what they used in terms of how they described the French people who collaborated with the Nazis. But now it's collaboration has come back as a nice, lovely word again. So it's interesting.
Wow. Thank you for that piece of history, Tim. Dave, do you have anything lighter to add to Tim's definition?
No, I think he hit the nail on the head. It is coming together for a common goal, but the beauty of collaboration is when that project is over, it still delivers returns. I remember once Daryl Darnell is a podcast editor, and so we kind of do, again, similar things. And he called me up. He said, "Hey, I've got somebody that needs something recorded in Cleveland, Ohio. Is that near you?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's about 40 minutes." He's like, "Yeah, can you go record them?" And I'm like, "Sure." I go, like, "What percentage? What's the," and he's like, "Oh, just this is all you. Just go, just take care of them, because if you don't take care of them, it's going to look bad at me, but you keep all the money." And I was like, "Oh." So one of the beauties of collaboration is that person now, when they go, "Oh, I need somebody that does whatever," they go, "Oh, I got a guy. Oh, I got her. She's great. Wait till you talk to her." So that's the beautiful thing of collaborating with someone is it's that relationship that's formed when you first start together.
I am so 2000% with you on that. And as I mentioned before, so for 52 Secrets, what I did is I reached out to everybody in the book is someone either I know or someone who I interviewed for the book who said, this person needs to be in there. Let me introduce you. So yes, it was something that was a springboard from this and my other podcast and the other interviewing that I do that went beyond itself because of the people I met all had, "Oh, I want to know what they do. Please interview them for your book." So you really don't know what direction a relationship will take. Starting with one collaboration, it can lead to anything. And I think you just described, Dave, that dream relationship where someone says, "Here, I've got a lead for you, take care of them so they love us both," which is the essence of leveraging your network, right? Making good introductions where everybody is happy, as it were. Chuck, do you have anything to yes and on the conversation about what is collaboration?
Yes, always. So yes, and I think what it also does is it expands your capabilities. And so I think all of us have something that we're really great at. And I'll speak for myself. I'm not great at everything, although I do try. Again, being a reformed do-it-yourselfer, there's the things I should definitely stay in my lane on, and there are the things that I would like to do better or to bring in new capabilities that we don't have. So I can find somebody who has those capabilities and find a way to work with them. You know, in lots of different forms. I mean, there's lots of forms of collaboration, but I always look for people who make what we do better because of what they bring to the table.
You're always looking for that win-win, win-win-win, win-win-win-win-win-win.
Win, 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 win.
Yes. Yeah, let's just fill the rest of the show saying the word win over and over again. And everybody on this panel loves podcasting. So is that your favorite form of collaboration? Or I mean, for Dave, I'm gonna guess yes, but maybe I'm wrong. What is how about if I ask it in the form of I will ask it in the form of a question. What is your favorite venue for collaboration and why? Yes, I'm making you play favorites.
I would say, well, yeah, definitely in person. Is that what you mean? Because like I love Zoom. Zoom's great, but when you get to stand next to the person and it's just another form of communication, right? Now you've got whole body language and there's just more to it, and you can high five somebody and actually high five them, that kind of stuff. It just builds a more camaraderie. And when you're literally on the same page and they're circling something that you just wrote, I think there's something it's not like miles better than collaborating online, but I think there is something to it that I just know, when I go to events, a lot of times the things you remember are the dinners you went to, not so much the sessions you went to, but the dinners you went to and the time and the guy with the Chinese thing and his, shirt caught on fire or whatever it was. You have those in-person things. I think, is that what you're looking for in terms of like your favorite form?
Okay.
Or did I just change the question?
You changed the question, but
Well,
it's totally fine. We'll go back to the other one. Your favorite way of interaction is in person because you get all of the elements.
right.
We've gotten really used to doing Zoom and Restream and live stream and whatever else it is that we're doing because we have access to people everywhere. But there is something really special about being in person and having those hugs and the high fives and those moments between the reasons why you are supposedly there. Okay, dead air.
Okay.
Not okay. Were you going to add something, or should I redirect?
No, I just to go back to your original question, the thing I love about podcasting is the fact that there are people that if I said, "Hey, can I pick your brain for 20 minutes?" they'd be like, "Get out of here, kid, you bother me." But if I say, "Hey, would you like to come on my podcast and share your brilliance with my audience that's thirsty for your knowledge?" they'll be like, "Sure, where do I sign up?" And so I remember when I first started, I was doing a show for musicians and got to talk to like the bass player from Quiet Riot. And, back then it was like, that was a big deal. And I just like, I can't believe I get to talk to this guy. And so I think that's one of the big benefits of a podcast, because that I know that that you're in a spare bedroom and, but they don't know that. And that's one of the really cool things, I think.
Yes, access, definitely. And Chuck, so you get the two-part question, which is, what is your favorite form of collaboration / interaction? And what do you love about podcasting?
Yeah. Well, my favorite form of collaboration is whatever makes the most sense based upon what I bring to the table and what the other person or people bring to the table. So I am not predisposed to any like online or offline or in person or wherever. It's what makes the most sense for us coming together and for whoever we're going to be serving with that. So I'm kind of open. My approach is I'm very open to the possibilities. Often I don't even have the idea of how to collaborate with that person until partway through the podcast interview. I just know that they're a person I want to get to know and that they're really cool. And often that's where the best ideas come from, is while I'm listening to them answer my questions on the podcast. So that's kind of my non-answer to your favorite forum question. But I will say that the majority of my collaborations are virtual and in the online world. So podcasting.
Wait, I want to go back to your first answer, the cheaty one.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Is so you use podcast as a way to get to know people better because you've got this platform, and then you see where you can interact in other ways.
Exactly. In fact, podcasting is only the beginning. It's not the final form of the collaboration. It is really just a way to get to know somebody that I know that I want to collaborate with. And, to kind of building upon what Dave was saying, if I was doing cold outreach, let's say, I wanted to, find a partner for a particular business, I could spam them on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, I've got this great you don't know me, but I've got this great partnership opportunity for you, and blah, 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 blah. Here's all the details. It's probably going to get ignored. But if I say, hey, I see you're an expert in blah, blah, blah space, I would love to have you on my podcast, most people are going to say yes to that. And so I find it is a great conversation starter. We identify the people that we want to collaborate with, invite them in to our show. Now we're in conversation. We'll just kind of let that go where it goes, and let the ideas flow from there. But it is a great way to start the process.
Okay, and did you have something to add about, or did you just answer both questions together?
I may have just done that.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I'm clever like that.
Wow. Okay. Yes. Well, we want word economy. No, a podcast is where you absolutely do not want word economy. Tim, what is your favorite form of collaboration? And part of why I thought this topic would be great for you is you're one of those people who travels everywhere. So you make a point to meet people, not just online, but in real life.
Yeah, well, I'll probably go with Dave, as in like in person is the favourite form of, but I might as well carry on using inappropriate analogies. The in-person stuff is like the final, it's the boots on the ground in the kind of the war of connection, so to speak. Podcasting is a fantastic sort of precision air weapon for making those connections and making a great thing. But I think actually social media in general, and as I say, like just connecting with people and like commenting on their posts, watching their stuff is a great way to kind of start that interaction with people. But yeah, I've invited people on my podcasts a lot of the time just because I wanted to get to know them better, and it's fantastic for that.
One thing that you do with your book talk, which I was on a few months ago, is that you interview people about what books they like. And and what I did is I just looked at what did the people I interviewed for 52 Secrets also author, and those are the books I talked about. Last week I got an email from one of them saying, Deb, I just saw you put a video up about my book on Amazon. And I said, I did. And I went and I Googled, but you took the interview from that and then put it on her Amazon profile. So that's just another way of extending a conversation. It's not just between the two of us, but it is directing that information. And you've just added another collaborator to the collaborator. Where my emphasis, you added another collaborator to that project. So was that always the vision?
Well, I mean, that's the, well, I mean, it's like, that's why people like do these collaboration books or 99 tips from 90 different people, because it's a great way of getting everybody involved. And yeah, I mean, that was the idea behind the show in a way, though I have got some amazing book ideas from people who have come on and recommended books. So, but yeah, I look up everybody's social media thing. And I also, because of the nature of the show, it's an Amazon Live show. It goes, I upload the clips onto the appropriate product pages, and sometimes Amazon shows them, sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, well, it's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
Oh, okay.
As Chuck
well,
would say.
You made at least one of the people that we talked about very happy. So thank you for that. Yeah. What are other ways to extend collaborations beyond that initial connection? Dave, you've been quiet.
It really, and I'm much worse at this than I used to be. I used to be very good at it, but I use, and this is a real thing, it's a CRM, and the name of it is Less Annoying CRM, because I wanted a CRM. I wasn't trying to build funnels and track leads. I just wanted something that I could type in here that, you know, Stacy's mom has a dog that has whatever, you know, it has surgery. So the next time I talk to Stacy, I could say, hey, how's your mom's dog doing? And Stacy thinks I'm amazing because I can't believe your memory. Well, my memory is shot. Forget about it. But I've got a CRM that can let me know that your dog just had surgery. So it's one of those things where I used to go in, and I still do. It just there now when I go in, it's like, you have 37 people to call today. But it's where it'd be like just a hey, how's everything going on your side of the glass kind of thing, just to touch in, just to let you know what's going on, because you really don't want that one time that you met that person to be the last time, because that, the podcast leads to relationships, and relationships lead to opportunities, and the opportunities lead to more relationships, and it just keeps going and going. And if you don't, every now and then just touch base to go like, hey, remember we talked about 2 years ago about podcasting? It's just one of those things that I used to be much better at that than I am now. And as I say that, I'm like, I need to get back on that because it really did help.
And it's like the word, whenever I hear somebody sneer at the word networking, I say, no, that's not the right word. It's relationship development, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's not about that first interaction. That's just the springboard. So I like that. So you use a CRM to remind you, so you have reasons to stay in touch with people.
Right.
Okay. What other tools do you guys like to make your life easier? Because it's work. I mean, being social is work, but we do it because we love it, right?
Well, we use a lot of AI now, and we've found ways to connect that with our CRM. So let's say Dave and Tim didn't know each other and we wanted to make an introduction. I could say, oh, I want to write an introduction email that really kind of states how awesome these two are, and introduce them to one another, versus just say, hey, Dave, meet Tim, Tim, meet Dave. I'll leave it up to the two of you to connect. I get those kind of messages all the time and they're not helpful, but I'd like to know a little bit of something about the person I'm being introduced to. That's one example of where we can literally click a button. We can click on Dave, click on Tim. It writes the message. We copy and paste it into whatever we're sending it out on, and we do it that way. Also,
do you at least edit it a little?
We do. It is moderated, and so we let the AI write the message for us, but I, for one, will not let it go out unsupervised. But it is still a lot less time. Yes, exactly. Thank you. I was worried. I was losing you there for a moment. Yeah, and this is the worry. This is the concern. I think we're all learning how to use the tools. I think AI, it's not about blind automation. It's about time saving and being more effective. If I was to write the kind of message I just described, it might take me 10 times the amount of time. It might take me 15 minutes to write that message versus ChatGPT that does it in 30 seconds, and I can read it in just as much time, change a word or two here, or say yes, no, nailed it, that's the one, click a button and out it goes. And so use the tools to save you time, and also to remind you, hey, it's time to reach out to Deb again because you haven't talked in a while, and that sort of thing. So the tools can help us to be more effective, but I think we still have to supervise the output. But again, I don't think that we could do the volume that we're doing without it.
Okay, yes, I am. And I did a conversation on AI a couple weeks ago, because, in part because I want to like it more. Mm-hmm. And I believe if you use it like a search engine or a starting point, it's fine. But I am also a freelance writer, and I sent out a call for recipes, and I got 8 back, and they were all the same sentence and paragraph construction. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't use any of them because they also did not have the background I requested. So I'm less skeptical than I used to be, but I'm still skeptical enough. I mean, it is a tool like any other tool, but the people that just use it as the everything, then it's a problem.
Yeah, certainly not recommending that. And also, if you don't like the output, try a different tool, because ChatGPT is the one we hear about all the time, but people don't talk about Perplexity. Perplexity is much more real time. There's lots of other ones. You'll get a completely different output. So we can learn to use the tools to save us time, but still have the quality that we value, right? And so that we've kind of set it up our workflow so that we use it that way.
Okay, actually, come to think of it, Chris was the part of the conversation on AI that I had a couple weeks ago. There you go. Tim, what tools do you like to use to make your life easier?
Well, I kind of use AI in a different way to a lot of other people in that I've started using NA10, which is an automation AI-based automation tool, but I don't use it to write any copy whatsoever. I'm using it to help the automation flows along, and this is what people don't appreciate. So in the old things like Zapier have been around for years, but you would always run into some sort of problem. Like I've been writing some AI things for creating podcast graphics for the show guests, and you think, well, that doesn't need any AI in it at all. But a lot of the time, people will give you a photograph and they're right off on the side somewhere, or it's the wrong shape. And just being able to feed that to AI and say, where is the person in the picture, and be able to crop it appropriately, that's a really useful use of AI. Hopefully, I'm not cutting
No,
out.
I just didn't understand what you just said.
Well, okay, look, like let's say you were coming on my show and you sent me a photograph, but you're right over here on the
Okay.
picture.
Oh, you can use
somewhere.
AI to correct imagery.
Yeah, you could. AI can recognize images. You could say, like, where is the person in the picture, and crop it appropriately, and then you put it onto your show graphic or whatever. And while that doesn't take an awful lot of time to do manually, it does take time to do. And there's lots of things like that that you can do using AI within an automation, which is not it writing you copy. It's helping you to do the things that would have been hard to do otherwise.
Dave, do you have an opinion on AI?
I've seen exactly. No, what I mean is I've seen the needle and the damage done. It's kind of like that. Like you can use it for good and you can use it. I had somebody that AI'd himself right out of his own podcast. Like he just had it write it. And I was like, hey, where's the personal story about the thing and he's like, well, Chat GPT took it out. And I'm like, no, Chat, do the stuff that AI can't. So what I like to do with it is I will write it so it's in my voice, and I have a very extensive prompt for this. I'll go, I'm writing a blog post for my website about podcasting. Here's my blog post. Paste. Make this better. And it will spit something out, and I'll be like, and I'll read it. And I'm like, okay, is that better? Is that better? Oh, wait, that's way wrong. Okay, let's change that and this and that. And then I look at it and go, does that still sound like me? Yes. Go. And I know there are profiles and all sorts of other things you can do to it. So I like to use AI to polish what I've already done. Because I don't understand the philosophy of I'm going to start a podcast. I want to be seen as a thought leader, and I'm going to have Chat GPT or something in Magi or whatever you're using write the script for me. And I'm like, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the latest stuff from these? It's a couple years old. I'm like, how are you going to be a thought leader from stuff from 2023? I'm like, so it's got its thing, but that's where I'm like, I think you got the wrong tool there for the job. So there are some things I love about it. I've seen some amazing images come out of it, and I've seen other things where I'm just like, when I'm tired of deep dives and all the other things, and I've seen, I get a lot of, I had a pitch today. Someone said, "Dear Mike and Brian," and I don't know if you guys have noticed, my name is neither Mike nor Brian. And then they talked about a podcast that is not mine and pitched somebody that would never be on my show. But the whole thing just was like, I smell AI. And I just was like, and unfortunately that starts to tarnish the whole booking industry, because there are people out there actually doing the work. And then there are other people who are like, no, I just bought a database and AI is going to tell me. And I'm like, so anyway, I started to cut off somebody. Tim, was that you?
Yeah, I was going to make a point in that I've seen this kind of thing because I was involved a lot in the self-publishing community on Amazon. And I remember when all the first books came out on KDP in like 2011, there was an absolute tsunami of the brown stuff, basically. And within that, there were some very, very good books. And even with podcasting, there was a at times there's been less good podcasts out there because everybody was making a podcast. So I think there's an element of that with AI, as in that hopefully people have realised that trying to pitch Dave as Brian isn't necessarily the way to go, and then they'll give up. And actually, people can start to use AI in a much more positive way. But this is the trouble with any new technology or new thing, that there's always going to be a period of time where the get rich quick people appear, and then they do the £10 course or whatever, and it's kind of like, this is what you do. You say Dave and Brian or whatever. And hopefully that will happen with AI. May not do, but I think I think they might do. I think it will clear out a lot better over the next.
Well, there's
year or
certainly a
so.
difference between using AI to enhance your productivity and just automating blindly, right?
You're like,
And I think people who are taking shortcuts haven't really taken the time to understand what they're doing. They're automating blindly, but how can we use it to do what we do well even faster or better, or to do more of it? And but we're not at a place where it can be completely unsupervised yet, because otherwise the tsunami of brown stuff gets even bigger, right? And so I love that.
Yeah,
you
my
don't let AI play out in the street all by itself, because it will get hit by traffic.
yeah, my
Yeah.
my favorite was a blog post that said there's been a discoverability problem in podcasting since the 90s. And I went, well, yeah, there was a really big discoverability problem because it didn't exist yet. And I was like,
Yeah.
oopsie. And then I went back and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is a really, really, really long blog post. And I went, yep, okay, I've smelled that before. So it's again, you got to use the right tool in the right way, just like everything else. And but there are times when some people may not have the right intentions or the right work ethic, and they look for a shortcut, and you get what you get. And that's fine, because that stuff makes us look really good.
Right?
Yeah. AI is very good for average. If you want average stuff, if you're not very good at something, then AI can give you the average because it's trained on the average. But if you don't know how to ask the average, then you end up with something that's even worse than the average. But if you're above average in an industry, then yeah, AI isn't necessarily the way to go, at least on the creative side.
So Chris Stone, if you're watching this live, he just said new band name, Tsunami of Brown Stuff, on tour now.
That's it.
Well, yeah.
Well, how many musicians are on this conversation? Okay, Dave and Chuck, I think it's time to start your new band,
That's it.
as it were. And just to stay on theme, because I do that, one could think of AI as a collaborator, use it as a partner to make things better, to get better visibility, or to be more productive, but don't let AI run wild with your content.
Yeah, it can be a passenger, it can't be the driver. And the voice feature on GPT, the one time I had a conversation, I forget, I was out shopping, and on the way home I was like, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. I've got this idea, and this one and this one. Are there any points that I'm missing? And it came up with like 3. I was like, oh, that was really good. And we just bounced ideas back and forth. And then we got done. I'm like, cool. Can you summarize that into a post and send it to this email or whatever it was? But anyway, I ended up getting all those notes. And I was like, that was a really productive ride home. So absolutely, you can use it as a collaborator.
And if you're doing it while you are driving, you're even more productive. I love this. Layers upon layers upon layers. Is there a dream collaborative project that is in your head that you're just excited to bring out into the world? Or you could say, yes, Deb, but I am not telling. Okay, everybody is smiling and nodding. It looks like Dave might actually say something.
Well, I would love to do a collaboration with Tom Webster, Steve Goldstein, and Todd Cochran. Todd's got to be in there. And let's talk about video and podcasting, and just watch that whole thing just go and just blow up, and it'd be great fun. So it'll be to kind of a scientific study, maybe.
Okay, so we will watch for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. What about you, Tim? Do you have some sort of crazy project or less crazy project?
Well, I had one, but I've never got around to doing it. It's always been the next projected podcast I was going to do, which was Bacon to Bacon. And the idea was I'm going to start by interviewing a pig farmer, probably in Ireland or somewhere, then ask them who they know who's most likely to know Kevin Bacon, and just keep going until I got to Kevin Bacon. Unfortunately, I've never got around to ever starting that. And I don't know if it's really a collaboration project. It was more a kind of comedy idea. I've still got the domain name, so I might do it at some point if I can free up enough time with AI that I can actually do yet another show, because I've got a bit of a thing of starting shows and then, well, I don't pod fade. I pod fade after about 100 episodes, which is quite good, but I still, yeah, the sea of dead podcasts. So I'm a bit loath to start a new one unless I'm going to commit to it.
And Chuck, do you have something that falls into this category?
I don't know that I have a dream collaboration project, because I really just like it when it unfolds. You know, there's a quote that stood out to me I heard about 20 years ago, and it's in my mind all the time, is that you don't need to say the whole staircase, just take the first step. And I really approach
Yeah.
that with my podcast. I'm interviewing amazing people. I get to just be curious about them, get to know them a little bit, and usually an idea of what to do next will come mid sentence or mid episode, and just kind of let that unfold. And I kind of like the unclarity of that. It's actually, I find it really, really exciting. So my dream project is one I have no idea is coming, because I'll know it when I see it.
Yeah. I think in general people can be. I think if you're trying to network too specifically, I have met people who are networkers, and they're all like they've got a list of everybody and what this person could do for them, and it just doesn't come out as very kind of like
Authentic, right?
sincere.
Genuine.
Yeah, and talking about AI, I mean, I've met somebody who's literally said, "I'm blah, blah, blah," and then shoved their business card into my hand and walked off. And that is like that's a human doing that. It's not AI. So yeah, I mean, you can do things well or you can do things badly, but I think there is a need to be a bit more flexible and like, yeah, it may not be the person you thought you were going to connect to, a high profile speaker, but it might be just the person who knows somebody who'll be your perfect client. So yeah, never. I think you have to be quite flexible
And
about
the
these
beauty
things.
of a collaboration is there's a thing that we used to do a lot called a dialogue, where I say something and then you say
Yeah.
something. And one of my favorite times, I was at an event and there were young people and old people. There were white people and non-white people. There were straight people and non-straight people. And we just were looking for a quiet place to sit down. And we all just started talking to each other. And by the end of it, I know I had learned a bunch of stuff and they had learned a bunch of stuff. And it was funny because at one point somebody said something that ever so slightly stepped on the toes of somebody, and they went, "Hey, like I'm sitting right here," and they're like, "Oh, that's right, holy, so on." And then that came into a whole discussion, and it just happened organically, and there was no judgment. There was no. It was just like, "Hey, this is what I saw from where I grew up," and they're like, "Well, this is how I grew up." And it was a beautiful thing. I know a few people that were in that group, and every now and then I'm like, remember the one time we're sitting down with three people and three guys, because it just doesn't
Yeah.
happen that often. So when you have a really cool collaboration, it's magic.
And that is why I love doing this format for my show, because unless it's on purpose, my guests don't know each other. It's just, okay, let's talk about this and see where the conversation takes you. And that for me is joy. And then every now and then I see one guest who is on my show being interviewed by a different guest who is on that same episode.
Yeah.
So it really is, the spark starts with a dialogue. It starts with a conversation. It starts with some sort of project where everybody is looking for the gazillion win calculation. I don't do math. I mean, I can, but I know that there's some sort of mathy way of saying win infinity or whatever. Wait, winfinity?
Ooh.
No, I think that's Winfluence is Jason Fall's podcast, and he's the guy who runs marketing podcast network. So that's probably, but yes, exactly. We're all looking to bring people together to enrich. And if you're doing it right, you want to enrich everybody. It's not about you. It's not about I think what Tim was describing before with the real life person throwing cards at you is called the spray and pray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throwing business cards like a ninja star. I'm like, it's crazy.
And the other thing that Tim was saying about, being open to where you're going. So the D in the DEV method stands for determine your mission. You can't get what you want unless you know what that is. When you know who you are and what you're all about, then you could be open to all the things that are in alignment with who you are and what you want to bring out in the world. So there's that. Deb does mathing. Thank you, Chris. My next podcast will be probably another one on food rather than on math. But I appreciate the suggestion. That's actually kind of funny. No, not me.
Who would be your ideal food collaborator then, Deborah?
See, that is a really. I'm going to throw it back. I don't have an answer. I do. So right now, in addition to Gold Chat, I do Taste Buds with Deb. So rather than an hour, I bring people together. So it is a 20-minute conversation about the intersection between food, cooking, and community. And that, for that, I like that I don't just do chefs. I do people in entertainment, authors. I got offered Mitch Albom, and I'm like, great. Does he want to be on Taste Buds with Deb? And he had some food philanthropy, so we were able to do that. I am as much as Jog is a former do everything myselfer. I am a former non-cook who's now a food writer and food podcaster.
Yeah.
And I know I've got at least 1 or 2 or 12 other food podcast ideas in me. So I would say rather than an ideal collaborator, I think the Cooking Goals podcast will be my next food show. Okay, I said it out loud. That means I have to actually do it. I've been talking about it for a while, so maybe I should. We will see. I like Dave's career. All he does is talk all day long. That is my dream. I mean, I still talk all day long. It's just not always in front of a camera. Sometimes it's doing consulting or e-teaching or helping with book proposals, which is one of my other superpowers. So I forgot how I got on this tangent. Oh yeah, you turned a question on me. That's right. I should know better.
Which you didn't answer.
My dream food collaboration is to get to more people. And I noticed, Dave, and I didn't read it yet, but I got your newsletter today, and it's talking about getting people to share. Do you want to crib notes?
Yeah, it's
the answer to that.
Because my thing was, look, we all know my show doesn't waste the time of my audience. We're pretty sure it's good. That's kind of how we come across. And we all say, hey, if you know somebody that would like this, could you do me a favor and share the show? And then some people do, and then a lot of them do not. And my question was, well, why not?
Yeah.
And so I looked into a lot of books and, all sorts of stuff. And one of them is, obviously it's content in many cases that you can't get someplace else. But a lot of it is like, hey, I want to look like the cool guy that found the cool stuff. So sometimes we'll share it that way. Sometimes, like, my brother knows me very well. So he knows if he shares something with me, how it's going to make me feel. And it might be nostalgia or whatever it is. And that's a lot of it. And that came from Chris Stone, who said, a lot of the stuff, it's how it makes you feel. And then you're like, oh, I know somebody else who would like to feel happy or maybe whatever. So that's, I think, the missing ingredient in many cases of why does something get shared? It's how it makes the recipient feel and also the sharer feel as well.
If we wanted to take it a step further, we can go back to the whole, your story about the lead you got from someone that you collaborated with. It's another way to do good, is to share content. But that message of this is going to help people, I think, is also something that can be underlined. Right?
Oh, absolutely. And there are, again, you kind of know what you like to do and what you don't like to do. So if somebody comes in and they want to do video podcasting, I can talk about the 3 lighting and the blah blah blah, and here's use your camera and blah blah. If they go, I really want to dig into it and we want to talk lenses and we want to talk about, I'm like, oh, go talk to Chris Stone over at castahead.net, because like that's not really where I want to swim, and I don't want to take the time to learn the stuff that you want to learn. Like I have my own little favorites, and it's a pretty wide range, but there are times when I'm like, yep, that's not my jam. Go talk to this person or that person, or, David Hooper or all sorts of other people that I just go, yeah, here. Because the beauty of it is, as much as you're like, well, it's not me. Yeah, but you're the person, like you just said, Chris Stone is the guy that connected us. So
Right.
Chris will always have whatever happens with us. It'll be like, yep, all thanks to Chris Stone, because he's a nice guy. And so anytime you can help that's one of the things I love at Podfest. They do, everybody calls it speed dating, but you basically just introduce yourself to about 90 people in about 30 minutes. And at the end of that, you'll see somebody and they'd be like, oh, what's your show about? And they're like, oh, I do stuff for military people. Like, you're like, oh, well, it's not me, but you need to go talk to Sharon over there in the green dress. And you become this connector, which is also another form of collaborating. You're not doing much, but you are the person that brought them together.
Oh, being a connector is one of my other favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Because going back to, can't reach your goals on your own, you need your people. The people you meet likely aren't your customer or your prospect, and they might not even be your audience. But as soon as someone is in your tribe, you're in their tribe and they are in yours, and then the possibilities are infinite, as it were.
Yep.
This has been so much fun. I feel like we should gift people some goals now. So what is something someone could do today, tonight, tomorrow to get their collaboration on, as it were? Okay, that did not sound nearly as groovy and hip as intended. But people who are longtime listeners / watchers of the show know that I am never funny when I am trying to be, and I apologize. So Chuck, what goal would you like to segue? So Chuck, what goal would you like to gift?
Yeah, my favorite goal for people is to take a look at someone you already know, and maybe you haven't talked to them for a while, or maybe you've always wanted to do something with them, and reach out to that person and set up a time to talk and get reacquainted. Talk about what they got going on, talk about what you got going on, and see where you can help each other out.
Oh my goodness. Having a conversation with somebody. Best
a dialogue?
goal ever. Yes, a dialogue. Love that. So reach out to someone you know. Set up a time to talk. You never know what'll come from it.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, Tim, what goal are you gifting?
Well, I think you need to consider how big your network is at the moment. I think I'm probably more in advice, but if you haven't got a big network and you want to connect with a particular group of people, then maybe find a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group if they still exist, or some sort of community place where you can post something and ask a question or respond to somebody else's post. So actually meet the kind of appropriate people you're looking for. So if you haven't got a big network and you want to grow one, then communities are a fantastic place to do that. That would be my goal for people.
I like that as well. And if you are not a member of my community, which is Right On Online, it's facebook.com/group/Right On Online. It is for goal setting, productivity, and community. And every day I post a simple conversation starter. And this is, I think, how we met, Tim, because you started replying to things in the Right On community, and then we met in real life. So
it's the Friday photo of the week that sometimes I post.
Photo Friday. Absolutely. Love it. Okay, Dave, goal.
I want you to take the list that you have of things that you've been saying, I'm going to start that, whatever it is, and I want you to spend 15 minutes moving that goal this much further. And the reason I say that, I call it the treadmill kind of mentality, because I never want to get on a treadmill. I'm always like, oh, I got to go to the treadmill, but I never feel bad getting off. And so it's like I'm actually proud of myself, and I'm like, yeah, I burned 100 calories. What do you know? So, and what I have found is, like, tonight when I get done here, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to get home. It's going to be 9 o'clock, and I'm be like, 9 o'clock. All right, I got 2, maybe 3 hours till I hit bedtime. And in the past, I'd be like, well, I guess I'll do something, later in the week, because this day's shot, it's almost over. No, it's not. And I have found so many times that I have really taken just bite-sized chunks out of stuff just by going, all right, I'm going to work on this for a half hour. And then what happens is you get on the treadmill and you're like, hey, this isn't that bad. And the creative juices are flowing. And all of a sudden, a half hour turns into 45 minutes, which turns into an hour. And you're like, hey, I got a whole lot more done. And then you go to bed feeling proud of yourself. And the bad news is, at least for me, is now I have to turn off my brain. And I'm like, okay, time for sleepy time now. And it's like, no, wait, what if we did this and threw it into ChatGPT and then did a thing in Canva? And I'm like, no, it's sleepy time now. But nonetheless, it just, we think these goals are huge. Just okay, fine. You're not going to do the whole thing. You're just going to do 15 minutes. That's all. Just do 15 minutes.
I love that. For many reasons, but in part because I say that to people all the time as well. Schedule 15 minutes a couple times during the week. You can move the appointments, you can never delete them, but like, look at your life and see what you can commit to. But you're right, 15 minutes. And then if after the 15 minutes, you're like, I got nothing, fine. But more often than not, you wind up, it's like 2 hours later and you're like, oh, wow, aren't I glad that I spent the time? So,
well, we do that with insert whatever short you're looking at, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And we're like, all right, I'm just going to look at a couple videos and then I'll go to bed. And then you look up and you're like, wait, how is it 4:30 in the morning? And why am I watching Ted Nugent videos from 77? You're like, you're just stuck. It's the same thing, only instead of going in a non-productive way, you're going to spend just a little bit of time doing something productive.
Right. And you never know what it's going to spark, as it were.
True.
Right. And something else that I like to tell people is, if you really don't want to start a project, work on something you like for a few minutes, and then you're enthusiastic, and then jump over to the thing that you're dreading, because that also will help with that motivation. Chris gave a shout out to your community in the School of Podcasting, Dave.
Thank you. Yes, he's a member, good guy.
Is that a public group, or you need to be one of your people to join?
Nah, I got to be part of my community. That's part of it. There's the community, there's unlimited coaching with me, and a bunch of courses.
Well, this is a really good time for me to ask the question, where can people learn more about you, since you just kind of answered that. So
yeah, the website, schoolofpodcasting.com. And as I just said, it's courses, it's community, and unlimited consulting. And people go, how does that unlimited thing work? I'm like, it's simple. It's not a joke. It's just true. No wife, no kids, no pets. And so I do what I love, which is I help podcasters 24/7. So find me over at schoolofpodcasting.com.
Awesome. And Tim, where's the best place for people to find you?
Well, unlike Dave's hyper and very good focus on one thing, I do lots of different things badly. But if people are interested in the AI side or most things, go to LinkedIn and look me up there. I'm Timothy Lewis on LinkedIn. If you're interested in the travel side, then Stone and Press on Instagram is probably the way to go. And there are links to all of these on my website at stonepress.com, which needs to be updated, but that's kind of true for a lot of people online. So.
And Chuck, where can people learn more about you?
The best place to learn more about me is at my website, chuckandersoncoaching.com. Very easy to spell. And you'll learn more about how to do joint ventures and partnerships and all sorts of different collaborations. We've got 102 different ways that you can collaborate with someone else. And so we've got that. We do courses and live events every single month. And I'm also very actively networking on LinkedIn. I wouldn't say, notice I said networking and not posting. I don't post a lot on LinkedIn, but I do like having conversations with people on LinkedIn. And so you can find me there, Limitless Chuck on LinkedIn.
Awesome. And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you can get the recap and get the goals and the links to everybody's website and their LinkedIns, because that is really the first step when you meet people anywhere. Or as I say, you know how when you meet people, you look them up, they look you up too. So it's like the modern Rolodex. And I think at least everybody on this call knows what that word means when I say it. So I feel a little less old than I sometimes do. Anyway, this has been a lovely, fun, collaborative conversation with you, Dave Jackson, Tim Lewis, and Chuck Anderson. I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And again, you can follow me at the Deb Method everywhere. Subscribe on YouTube. And if you need a little bit of a help toward your goals, you can grab a copy of your goal guide and or 52 secrets for goal setting and goal getting at your favorite place to buy books. Okay, friends, what final thought do you want to leave people with today? Tim, final thought?
Collaboration is good. And you can achieve a lot of stuff if you work with other people, because while you can't be brilliant at everything, in fact, you're probably useless at most things, there's somebody in your network who is good at that thing. And if you work with them, then that's going to improve stuff. That's my last words.
Awesome. Okay, Chuck, final thoughts? Because that sounds a little bit more enthusiastic than last words. Tim, come on.
Last words. Yes, we'll never hear from you again. So mine is like, there's no obstacle or business challenge too big to be overcome, and you might be just one collaboration away from the big breakthrough you need that will send your business where you want or make the big positive impact you want in the world. So find someone to collaborate with today.
Wow, you sound like a commercial for collaboration.
I end my podcast, right? I cheated. I did the outro for my podcast, but it's good advice. You might be one obstacle collaboration away.
I think he's a shield for big collaboration. He's a shield for big collaboration.
And this is really how the panel came together. So Tim interviewed me, and I said, I'd love to have you on the show. When are you on, or at least close to my time zone? And we just picked this date because we knew he was going to be in Canada. And then Chuck interviewed me, and I'm like, oh, Tim collaborates with everybody. What a great person. Let me throw you on with Tim. And then I saw Dave on Jim and Chris's show, and again was like, oh, we have to meet. Let's get you on. And here we are. So I love how organically some of these conversations come together, because it's all about collaborating and bringing people together for the greater good. Dave, final thought?
Yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to that person that you know will never, ever want to do anything with you, because that's just your brain holding you back. Because in some cases, they will say no, and it's not really a no, it's a not now. I mean, many moons ago, I was the head of the New Media Expo, and I hired Pat Flynn to come talk to us. And then Pat kept doing fun stuff, and I would like, Pat, you want to come on my show? And he's like, actually, my wife's going to have a kid. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, so I kind of left him alone. And then I went back and like, I don't know, a couple years, hey, Pat, love to have you come on the show. Long story short, another kid, and then he came out with a stand for people doing video. And I was like, oh, now he's actually got something to promote as well, which is always a bonus. And lo and behold, Pat Flynn came on my show. So no is not always no. It may just be a not now.
And as entrepreneurs, we all know, not yet. It happens so often in our business, in the businesses of people around you. And you're absolutely right. It might be a not now, but you need to take that risk, because someone is going to say yes. And not only that, they might be just as excited to be on your show as you are to have them on.
Yeah, they're the person going, I can't believe I just got asked to be on this person's show. Yeah, exactly.
Well, if you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yeah.
So why not ask? Why not reach out? Why not see what collaborations are in front of you? Because it could lead to some amazing things. Thank you again, Chuck Anderson, Dave Jackson, and Tim Lewis for joining me. Thank you for tuning in, whether you're watching live, the replay, or listening to us on the Gold Tap Podcast on the Marketing Podcast Network. Go collaborate. You know you want to, and we know you can do it.